The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Clark County, Nevada, on your new fire apparatus, job number 33857. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start just under the front bumper. On the bumper extension, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks nestled just underneath the front bumper. On the face of the front bumper, on the passenger and driver's side, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speakers. Just inside of that location, you'll find dual air horns. Moving up onto the top of the bumper extension, you'll find 3 locations for hose storage. The passenger and driver's side have dry deck material and also a Velcro tie down. The center section does house an 1.5 inch swivel discharge. Moving to the outer edge of the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren. As we move up onto the cab face of the vehicle, you'll find on the outer edges your turn indicator marker light. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights, and above that, emergency warning lights. Located directly behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find the release mechanism for your hood. Moving up onto the windshield, we'll find a seamless windshield, 3 windshield wipers. Onto the outer edge, you'll find your mirrors housing a convex and flat portion mirror. As we move up to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 clearance lights. Located directly in the center, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. And as we move up onto the roof of the apparatus, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's take a look at some of those items that we just talked about a little bit closer. First, let's take a look at the tub storage locations. You'll see in the passenger and also driver's side, it is just a hose tray with dry deck material inside. The center section does have a swivel discharge 1.5 inches. Let's move to the Pierce logo. Directly behind, if you reach with your hand, you'll find the release mechanism for the hood. Let's take a look at the headlight structure. Once again, the high beam is on the inside, low beam is located on the outside. Let's move up to the very top. Nestled at the very top, you'll find your Opticom system directly in the center. And we'll now move to the side where you'll find your keyless entry keypad. Just to the right of it, you're going to find your Shoreline inlet. This is a 20 amp with an indicator that you've plugged in and have power to the unit. As we move to the notched area, this is near your pump panel. You'll find 2 2.5 inch discharges, and you'll also find a warning label regarding pressure hazard. The caps may be under pressure. Located in the center, you'll find your large diameter pump intake. Moving to the upper right in the image is where you'll find your foam fill operations. Just beneath that, you're going to find a warning label regarding foam failure hazard, and be cautious that not to mix different brands or consistencies of foam for fear of failure of that foam product. In the upper right, we've got a warning label here not to ride on or climb on the side of your apparatus. We also have a air inlet, and as we move down, you'll find the 2.5 inch auxiliary inlet. This is a female inlet coupling. Just beneath that, you'll find all your associated and color-coded drains. Let's take a look at some close-ups of these items. First, this is your foam operations for inlet, strainer, and also foam tank drain. As we look down, you'll find the driver's side auxiliary inlet, once again a 2.5 inch female inlet. As we move to the upper left, you'll find those 2 2.5 inch discharges. Let's move just now to the cab section where we're going to find your door handles. They are a latch pull, which they have a key mechanism also. You do have at all points of entry grab handles for firefighters for getting in and out of the cab. Just a few more identifying items. You do have a side-facing emergency warning light. This is mid-cab location. As we move to the very top, you'll find an LED water tank level indicator. Let's move now to the crosslay section. You'll find because of those crosslays, we have a warning label here that there could possibly be entanglement, and be cautious. You'll find 3 crosslays on this side. You have 2 on the lower section and then 1 up in the upper section. There are release mechanisms for those crosslays or speedlays to be removed. I have another image that will show you that release in just a moment.
Let's take a look. These are the two speed lays. You can see just in front of that, you'll see the release mechanism push down on the lever, allowing that to be pulled outward. The upper section does have backboard storage and also a cross lay in the upper section. Let's talk a little bit about the pump panel. Let's first start in the upper top section of the pump panel. If your pump has properly been engaged, this light will be illuminating, indicating OK to pump. You also have a speaker here with volume control on the dial. Moving just to the right to the green module, this is your foam level A tank indicator. Moving to the right in the gray section, these are the two gauges. You have a master intake and a master discharge. Between those two gauges, you'll find your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They currently have plugs. In the upper right-hand corner of the image is where you'll find your PCM fault. There is an audible alarm and also a visual indicator. The audible alarm does have the ability to dampen the sound around the outer edge of the bezel. As we move down, you'll find all your color-coded and labeled cross lays. Let's move just to the right-hand side. We'll identify your Pierce pressure throttle governor. If illuminated, it would be yellow in color, would be a check engine light. Directly in the center, you'll find a digital readout for the RPMs. Moving to the upper right corner, you'll find a stop engine. That would be red if illuminated. Down across the next level, you'll find all of your engine diagnostic information. And as we looked all the way to the right of that engine diagnostic information, you'll find a pump temperature indicator also. Moving down into the blue area, you're going to find your water tank level indicator, which coincides to the side of your cab. Moving to the right, you'll find your silence, which is a red button. This will silence any audible alarms associated with your pressure throttle governor. Just down from that, you'll find the orange button, which allows you to scroll through the various menu functions. And you have two options, either pressure control or RPM throttle control. To make that selection, you'll operate the blue button, which is your control mode. Located in the center, you'll find digital readout for that information. As I move to the right, directly in the center, you'll find a green light illuminating, indicating throttle ready. To the right green, you do have some preset availability. Please see your owner's manual for programming. And then also just beneath that, you'll find your throttle, right to increase, left to decrease, and push in the center for idle position. Just to the right, you'll find a warning label that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment and only after receiving training. You'll also find the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi. On the left, you'll see the associated GPM, and on the right, the associated test pressures. Let's now move down further into the pump panel area, first starting with the recirculating line. This is a turn, not a pull. And as we move further down, you'll find the red module, which is your foam module. This is for your Husky 12 foam system. To the right, you'll find your primer, pull to prime. You do have a caution note indicating at the very top. As we move further down, you'll find your tank fill and tank to pump. And to the right, in the reddish or pink color, you'll find the deluge discharge. Your vehicle does have some electronic valves. These are two Acron valve locators here. These will operate your valves number 2 and large diameter discharge in green. Those are for the passenger side of the pump. You also have a rear driver's side discharge and also some information here regarding your Husky 12 foam system specifications. As we move to the left, you'll find your master intake relief valve. It is adjustable. There's instructions on how to operate that on the placard. And then you'll find all your color coding associated drains. As we move just in the pan door, you'll find the yellow handle coincides with the directions on the back of the door for foam fill operations. The red manual pump shift is a protected switch and with a illuminating indicator indicating you've activated. Let's move just to the side where you're going to find driver's side scene lights and also a red air horn button. Moving down just into the compartment, when plugged into shore power, this outlet will be activated, allowing your auto charge automatic battery charger to activate. This in turn will also activate your air compressor unit on the left-hand side to maintain brake pressure. Let's move down to the lower section just in front of and rear of the rear axles where you'll find your folding wheel chocks. We'll talk a little bit about these compartments here. These are for your SCBA and also locations for your DEF and diesel fuel. Your front has 3 bottle storage locations with retaining straps. As we move to the rear section, just above the rear tire, you'll find a long compartment, dry deck material, and LED lighting inside. Let's move just down to the rear section of the rear wheel, where you'll find bottle storage with retaining strap, your ultra low sulfur silver diesel cap. As we flip the latch down, you'll find a 4.5 US gallon blue DEF cap. As we move to the rear, this is your department's logo. And let's go inside this compartment where you'll find a tool board. The D handle allows you to open that tool board to gain access to the rear. When it's all the way open, the release mechanism is on the hinge side, which is a lock. Moving down, this does have an adjustable pull-out tray. As you can see, the mechanism to release is down in the lower right. Let's take a quick look at the rear of the apparatus. You have your brake, turn, and backup lights located on the passenger and driver's side. You also have emergency warning lights down low. We'll identify some of the other items within this area. Let's move up from that location. There are 2 cup switches, and we'll talk about what those control in just a moment. And then as we move to the very rear, you'll find large diameter, 2.5-inch discharges. You'll also find your backup or reverse camera, and then just above that, you'll find your traffic advisor. Let's take a look at some close-ups of the items that we just talked about. Let's first start with the lights for hose bed lights and also rear scene lights. These are momentary switches. As we move to the very top, you'll find emergency warning lights, and at the very top, you'll find a scene light. You do have a 24-foot and a 14-foot ladder. The 24 is an extension ladder, and the 14 is a roof. You'll also find a 6- and 8-foot pike pole, and then also a 10-foot folding ladder. Let's move to the other side of the truck, down at the very bottom. This is a roll-up door, department logo once again. As we look inside this compartment, you do have a rolling shelf on the very bottom section, releases on the lower right-hand side. As we move up to the top, this is part of your access for the steps. You do have an emergency warning light, side-facing scene lights, and also at the very top, all of your rear-facing scene lights, which are adjustable. Let's go ahead and take a look at the hose storage location. You do have 2 coffins, one on the right-hand side and one on the left-hand side, dry deck material and LED lighting inside those compartments. As we look to the dunnage area, we're going to find your water fill for the top fill location and also foam fill for top fill. The Class A foam does have a warning label regarding foam failure. Once again, do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for fear of foam failure. As we look to the center section, you'll find your master stream device. It does have an extended gun located on it. And you'll also find your Husky 12 foam system. This is the hydraulic oil. As we look at that hydraulic reservoir, there is a shutoff down at the lower bottom in red, and then also a sight gauge on the far right-hand side with a fill location on the very top. As we look, we also have a booster line located here. There is a tensioning screw on the left-hand side, and then also a manual rewind key at the very top section. Let's take a quick look at the cab. This is a non-walking surface. That's why we posted these 2 warning labels here regarding not to walk on this surface for slip hazard. We also have a section looking to the rear of the apparatus for your hose bed storage. Once again, front and rear sided passenger and driver side storage units. In the rear compartment, you'll find this access panel. This is for your absorbent material. It does have a locking top to it, and we'll talk about where that feeds to in the lower section now. As we look once again to the rear of the apparatus, behind this compartment door is where you're going to find the location for your absorbent material. Let's take a quick look. This is the tube that comes down from the very top, and there's also a release mechanism allowing that product to flow freely out of the bottom. As we move also onto the passenger side, you'll find diesel fill location, 2 SCBA bottle storage locations. As we look over the rear wheel, you'll find pull-out and tilt-down style shelving. The release mechanisms are the 2 black knobs on each end. Moving forward of the rear axle, bottle storage and also oxygen bottle storage. As we move to the next compartment, you'll find adjustable shelving. I would like to point out this warning label regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move to the notch section here for the pump area, you'll find once again a warning label regarding fall, and also your strainer, 2.5 inch. As we move down, we'll identify the rest of the items here within this side. First with the Pierce American Flag Eagle, This is the passenger side auxiliary inlet. And then also just to the right of that, you're going to find a warning label here, once again, regarding pressurized hazard. This is that electronic valve, which is a 2.5-inch discharge. It does have an override down in the lower section, and also an electronic valve which controls your large diameter green, and there's also an override. Down in the lower left, you'll find the 2.5-inch auxiliary side inlet, and then at the very bottom, you'll find all your associated color-coded and labeled drains. Here's some close-ups of those items. First, your water strainer drain. Moving to the right, large diameter pump intake. Moving just down from that location, 2.5-inch passenger side auxiliary inlet and all your associated drains. Let's move to the right now, where you'll find your overrides clearly labeled. One is orange and one is green, associated with each of those 2.5-inch and also large diameter. Same configuration on the through compartment here for your cross leg, but we do have at the very top, this is the location where your booster or red line would come out from. Moving forward, same location, you do have a tank identifying water LED indicator. As we move to the cab itself, we're in the rear section, passenger side. At all points of entry on all door panels, you'll find this set of warning labels. You'll also find in the two rear doors these red handles to assist firefighters for ease of access in and out. There are 3 seats located against the back wall, 2 outer and 1 inside. Also your David Clark headset system nestled just above each of those seats. Let's go ahead and look to the rear section of the engine. This is where you're going to find this location here, which is an access panel. This is a lift and turn latch, which allows the operator to gain access to the oil and transmission for daily fluid checks. As we move to the driver's seat just behind, you'll find your wireless module. And then as we move as a general view, looking from the rear to the front, we're now looking at the officer section. Let's talk about some of the items there. Affixed to the door panel, once again, you're going to find warning labels. You're also going to find this vehicle is equipped with an airbag. That is a supplemental restraint system. You can see it just above, and there's also a warning label not to mount anything within this area. Let's go ahead and take a quick look overhead, and we'll identify those items in just a moment. Let's first start with your push to talk for your radio system. This is on about the left hand of the officer position, just forward of that location. You're going to find a 12-volt access. This is USB style. And then as we move forward, you'll also find your vehicle data recorder. Also on this side, you'll find 2 barrel style 12-volt access plugs. As we look overhead, this is the officer seat. You'll find your unit radio. Moving just to the left, we're going to find a set of switches housing the air horn, siren brake, front flood, and passenger side flood, future switches if necessary. Moving further to the center, you're going to find your seatbelt information center, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green indicating they're in the seat and belted. Just to the right, you'll find a digital readout for your pump pressure, and then to the right, you'll find your water and foam tank level indicators. Moving closer to the driver's area, you're going to find the AM/FM radio. And once again, now we're into the driver's section. Once again, on those door panels, you'll find all of your safety warning labels. You'll also find these 2 placards. These are from Pierce Manufacturing. This is information regarding the date of manufacture, the 5-digit job number, also gross vehicle weight ratings, cold tire inflation, your VIN number, and then just beneath at the very bottom, you'll find all your fluid capacities for the components, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. Just down at the left ankle area, you'll find your auto charge system. When plugged into shore power, this will activate. You'll also find at about the left foot, your mechanical siren. Just about the left knee of the operator, you're going to find your tech module, engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic ports, and also your display port. And also you'll find just beneath that the switches regarding ABS diagnostic, engine diagnostics, and this is also where you're going to find your regen inhibit and DPF regen switches. Let's go ahead and move just up from this location. On the far left-hand side of the steering column is where you're going to find your 4-way flashers or hazard lights. Just down from this location, you'll find your ignition and start switch. Moving just inside of this location, you'll find this small switch called EM. That is your emergency master switch. That will control all of your emergency lights, either on or off. Just right to that, you're going to find the headlight control and clearance lights. And then moving further to the right, you'll find your panel switch. This is a rocker switch, increase or decrease for the brightness of your panel lights. Opposite side of the steering column, you'll find the OK to engage the high idle and OK to engage the high idle switch. As we move through the cluster here, we'll find transmission, oil, DEF level, and water temp. On the right, you'll find volts, fuel, front and rear air. Speedometer and tachometer located in the center. Diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer. Let's take a look to the right where you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brakes and push to release. This is the yellow diamond on the left. Moving to the right, you'll find your Pierce command zone. Tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Please see your owner's manual. And then also to the right, you'll find your Allison transmission pad with an indication here to pump in neutral. Let's move just to the right. We'll identify some of the switches. Starting down at the lower section, you'll find your engine brake on and off. Also settings for that engine brake for low, medium, and high. A push to talk for the radio, and also a mirror heat. Moving up from this location, we're going to find a set of switches for perimeter lights, fuel primer, and load manager. The rest of those switches do have the ability for programming at a later date if necessary. Let's move just to the right of this location. At the lower section, you'll find your stationary OK to pump and roll. This is an indicator, and also your water pump switch and foam system switch. Let's move up from this location where you'll find your traffic advisor. There are functions here for left, right, split, flash. The on-off switch is on the left, which is red, and it will be either low function or high function. You also have a direction indicator. Let's go ahead and move up from this location where you'll find your mirror controls. This is for the left and right mirror. And then as we move just forward of this location, you'll find climate control for heat and air conditioning and also defrost. Looking overhead of the operator's position, I'd like to start with this placard on the left with the height 10 feet 0.75 inches tall, the length 32 feet 9 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating of 49,800 pounds. If you make any adjustments to your vehicle that may change any of these or alter, please update this placard. Let's move just to the right for a set of switches over the operator's head: emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, upper rear warning, high beam flash, and your Opticom. When these are activated, the outer edge will illuminate green in color. Let's move to the right now for a second set of switches, where we're going to find on these the air horn, a siren brake, front flood, driver's side flood, passenger side flood, and rear scene lights. Same thing, when you push on any of these, they will illuminate the outer edge of that color, indicating that it is burnt active. Let's move to the right of this location. This is your siren control module and also the microphone for your PA speaker system. I would like to point out this just in the very center. This red flashing light will indicate that you have a do not move situation. Your compartment or apparatus doors may be open. Also, I pointed out earlier, these are those 12-volt access panel for barrel style. Looking to the rear of the pumper, you'll find once again those 3 seats, just a different angle. Warning labels affixed to the side panel of the door. And then as we move overhead, you'll find your air conditioning and also storage locations above. Congratulations, Clark County, Nevada, on your new fire apparatus. Job number 33857. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus or any future questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.